Hello and a warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Cycle in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has described the accidental bombing of locals in the Tudumbiri community of Kaduna State by the Nigerian army as very unfortunate, disturbing and painful, expressing grief over the loss of lives. This was as he sympathized with the families of the victims, the people and the government of Kaduna State. Tinubu's grief was conveyed in a statement signed by his special advisor and media and publicity during Galale. Widespread outrage followed the mistargeted bombing of Tudumbiri in the Igabi local government area of Kaduna State by the Nigerian army on Sunday, which left no fewer than 85 villagers dead. The Supreme Court has dismissed an application by Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party seeking to remove Hope Uzodinma from office as Imo State Governor. The applicant had in the application argues that if the Apex Court recognized Nwosu as the candidate of the APC, there was no legal basis for its judgment, which sacked Ihedioha and declared Uzodinma, who was also sponsored by the same APC, as the valid winner of the governorship poll. The applicant, however, sought the court for a consequential order directing the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to issue a certificate of return to Ihedioha as the validly elected governor of Imo State in the 2019 election. About 85 victims of the Sunday accidental bombing by the Nigerian army at the Tudumbiri in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State have been given mass burial. This is just as the search and rescue mission continued in the village. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, who visited the community on Tuesday, sympathized with the bereaved families. The Kaduna State government says the Nigerian army claimed responsibility for dropping the bomb on Tudumbiri in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, which left no fewer than 85 villagers dead. The House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee on Monday resolved to track the 192 projects that the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency says it executed with 60 billion naira COVID-19 funds released to it by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. This was as the committee grilled the Chief Medical Director of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital over the spending of 949 million naira COVID-19 intervention funds. The managing director of FEMA, Emeka Agabasi, at the hearing on Monday told the committee that the agency undertook 192 projects in the 6 geopolitical zones and completed 186, with only 6 left uncompleted. He said 34 out of the projects were in the North Central, 30 in the Northwest, 32 in the Southwest, 34 in the Southeast, 27 in the Southeast, and 35 in the Northeast. The lawmakers were, however, not impressed by documents submitted by the FEMA boss. The committee subsequently decided that it would undertake a tour to inspect the projects. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Assets on Tuesday vowed to recover assets belonging to the nation acquired through fraudulent processes. The committee's chairman, Ademori Kuye, stated this in Abuja at a one-day retreat organized by the panel on the theme Guardian of Public Trust, Transforming Public Assets Oversight and Legislation. Earlier in his opening remark, Kuye informed members of the committee that the task before them was to kickstart a process that would not only bring about proper documentation of national assets, but also work against financial losses in the future. The Plateau State House of Assembly on Monday warned the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress against causing any breach of the peace in the state, saying that the House is still on recess. The 24-member assembly, dominated by People's Democratic Party lawmakers, had adjourned plenary till January. However, 3 days later, the Court of Appeals sacked all the 16 PDP lawmakers in the state and declared candidates of the All Progressives Congress winners of the election conducted in their various constituencies. Addressing the allegation that the House was closed to prevent the newly declared lawmakers from resuming, the Speaker, Gabriel Dewon, who was elected on the platform of Young Progressives Party, in a statement clarified that he did not close the House purposely to prevent the swearing-in of incoming members. And in commemoration of the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, in line with the theme United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the SDGs for with and by persons with disabilities, the Cedar Seed Foundation, in a dialogue event, launched the Disability Impact Fund. Global TV's health correspondent Fauzia Lukman brings the reports.
With the vision of creating active participation in the society for persons with disability, major stakeholders in the disability community gathered at the International Disability Dialogue event by Cedar Seed Foundation to commemorate the International Day for Persons with Disabilities with the Disability Impact Fund. Speaking on the impact of inclusion, the country director Action Aid made emphasis on unity.
The emphasis on unity in action resonates profoundly with the value we uphold, recognizing the pivotal role of collaboration in achieving meaningful change.
Young Global Leaders Network representative Veronica Loco further speak on the gap people with disability are facing.
The team United in Action to Rescue and Achieve the SDGs for, with, and by persons with disability is a wake-up call to address gaps faced by people with disability in our society and provide possible solutions, which is very crucial in achieving the aim of this dialogue.
Lugard Okonobi of the Nigweed Project called on the federal government to simplify the Disability Act by producing it in different languages.
A lot of people are even not aware that there is such an act. So on my own part, I think government should try and see how they can also simplify the act and produce it in different languages such that the persons with disability will be able to understand it and be able to hold government accountable.
On the strategic plan and launching of the Impact Fund, Lois Auto said is set up to ensure the achieving of the Disability Act objectives, among others.
The Disability Impact Fund was inspired by the exclusion of persons with disabilities from public and private sector agenda. And we are tired of the discrimination and exclusion. And we want to move from inclusion to participation and from participation to representation.
We want to launch this Disability Fund, and I encourage all partners here to do the same. We have heard the 3 thematic areas that they want to work with, which is very key in elevating the sufferings of persons with disability.
The day is celebrated with the aim of understanding disability issues and gaining support to ensure that the right to well-being, dignity, and equal opportunities are practiced. Fauzia Lukman, Global TV News.
The National Youth Service Corps NYSC Foundation has taken steps to empower youths in the country with the disbursement of 400,000 naira loan for each of the 7 distinguished corps members selected to enable them invest in their preferred businesses. Speaking at the disbursement ceremony at NYSC Directorate Headquarters at the Gowon House, Abuja, the NYSC Director General Yusho Ahmed advised the beneficiaries to be prudent in their usage of the loans. Global Television's correspondent Anthony Momodu brings us details.
General Ahmed, who was represented, warned the beneficiaries to be prudent in the usage of the loans received as they are meant to pay back, thus the need to be steadfast and successful.
To further improve the quality of the Nigerian youth. Because a youth that doesn't have meaningful engagement, that doesn't have a business, that is not employed, cannot be expected to contribute to the development of any nation.
In fulfillment of our pledge, that pledge publicly in the presence of the last president, and the NYSC Foundation is committed to redeeming that pledge.
we all have to find a way to add up something to make the system work. And we are just making our own contribution from it. From the bit we can make the contribution, we believe that it will make an impact to change the situation of the economy.
The beneficiaries of the loans expressed their appreciation for the loans with a promise to judiciously use the loans for their personal success and that of the foundation.
We are going to make the best out of this seed capital, and we promise to make good use of it, and we know that at the end we shall all represent this nation as youths that have been empowered.
They're supposed to start a business, they're supposed to run the business, and we give them a 3-month moratorium before they start paying. They have a 3-month period to run the business, start up the business, and on the 4th month, they start paying us for a period of 2 years.
The National Youth Service Corps Foundation steps to empower youth in the country with the disbursement of 400,000 naira loan is no small drive in improving not just the economic fortunes of the citizenry, but the nation as a whole. Anthony Momodu, Global Television, Abuja.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities on Tuesday raised the alarm that most departments and units of Nigeria's public universities were short-staffed due to the resignation of lecturers in search of greener pastures. The chairman of the University of Ibadan chapter of ASU, Ayo Akinwole, who disclosed this in Ibadan, Oyo State, said Nigeria's public universities were in very pitiable conditions, with stress and frustration visible in the faces of poorly remunerated lecturers. The chairman stated that poor and delayed salaries, unpaid allowances, poor infrastructure, lack of respect for the academic community, and the seeming dwindling hope are some of the factors responsible for the resignation of lecturers in the past few months. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to identify within 90 days its officials involved in the registration of the underage during the continuous voters registration (CVR) exercise in polling units across the country. Justice Obiora Egwatu, in a judgment, also directed the culprit to be produced and handed over to the appropriate law enforcement agency for investigation and possible prosecution. Justice Egwatu equally made the mandatory order compelling INEC to expunge forthwith from its National Voters Register the names of all the underage voters from each of the polling units across the Federation, published on her website as identified and compiled by the plaintiff in Exhibit A, attached to the affidavit in support of the originating summons. The judge further made a mandatory order compelling the Commission to furnish the plaintiff with a certified true copy, CTC, of the cleaned-up National Voters Register of all the persons eligible to vote in Nigeria within 90 days. And the Nigerian Army has taken responsibility for Sunday's airstrike that left many villagers dead and several others injured at Tudumbiri village in Kaduna State. Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, said this at the end of an emergency security meeting on Monday. It was earlier reported that on Sunday night, while the villagers were marking the Maulud celebration to commemorate the birth of Prophet Muhammad, an unmanned air vehicle bombed some parts of the community, killing over 85 individuals. Following the incident, the Kaduna State government convened an emergency security meeting chaired by the Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe on Monday. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mufwang has approved the payment of the 90% consolidated medical salary structure and 75% hazard allowance for other health workers. The Joint Health Workers Union, JOHESU, and the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives in the state. According to him, his administration, in recognition of significance of the civil service as the regime engine room of government, had prioritized its well-being by fulfilling promises, clearing outstanding salaries, rejuvenating the workforce through training, and ensuring the regular release of overheads for enhanced productivity. The governor further said he'll continue to uphold the values and ethics of the civil service as a deliberate step towards fostering an environment for all sectors to thrive, stressing that his guiding principles include fairness, justice, and equity in the treatment of every worker. Muftwang stated this at the Plateau State Government House, Plateau State Government, Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress retreat on promoting effective social dialogue for industrial relations under the context of the Time is Now mantra held in Jos Plateau State. The Nigerian Labour Congress is expected to meet ahead of the resumption of negotiation between the federal government and the organized labor of the new minimum wage. This is to arrive at a living wage which commensurate with the prevailing cost of living. This came as the NLC vowed not to be deterred by the recent assault on workers and their leaders in Imo State, which is said posed a grave threat to freedom of association and collective bargaining as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution and the ILO Conventions 87 and 98 on freedom of association and collective bargaining. The NLC President, Joe Ajaero, stated this at the opening session of the NLC 2023 Hamatan School with the team Building Workers' Skills for Policy Engagement in Abuja on Monday. You're watching Global TV News Cycle coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news cycle returns, Iranian President Putin meet in Russia Thursday. The news continues shortly with details of this and other stories right after this break. Please stay with us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the news cycle from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. On the foreign scene, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi will visit Russia on Thursday for talks with Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin says, as the two countries strengthen economic and military ties in the face of Western sanctions. There will be Russian and Iranian negotiations on December 7. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters when asked about media reports of Raisi's impending visit. Raisi would be traveling to Moscow following an invitation from Putin. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan is cutting short her attendance at the COP28 climate summit amid deadly floods and landslide back home. At least 50 people in the northern Hanang region died after disaster struck over the weekend. The leader's spokesperson says around 5,600 people have been affected. Homes and infrastructures were damaged by the heavy rains, which have also had an impact on farmland, directly threatening the people's livelihoods. 400 rescue workers have been sent to Hanang region. However, in a statement released on Monday, Yunus stated that the rescuers are operating under challenging conditions such as defective telecommunications and blocked, damaged roads. In business, the federal government says it will soon commence disbursement of funds under its presidential palliative program targeted at alleviating the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. In a statement by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Uzoka Anite, says the programs consisted of the Presidential Conditional Grant Program and the Presidential Palliative Loan Program. For the Presidential Palliative Loan Program, it says the federal government will disburse 75 billion naira to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises across various sectors and 75 billion naira specifically to manufacturers. The loan would be administered to the beneficiaries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. Huge crowd besieged banking halls on Monday as customers moved to link their bank verification numbers and national identification numbers to their bank account. This followed the new directive of the banking regulator to the banks on Friday to bar customers who were yet to link their BVN and NIN from having access to their accounts. CBN said the directive that existing customers must ensure all operated accounts and wallets created through agents are fully profiled in the NIBSS ICAD and tagged with valid and correct BVN and or NIN. In sports, Napoli striker Victor Osimhen was named as the Italian Footballers Association Footballer of the Year for his stellar showing with Napolitans last season. The award ceremony held on Monday night also had other accolades, including the Team of the Year, Coach of the Year, Club of the Year, and Goal of the season. Osimhen's 26 goals were instrumental in helping Partenope win their first scudder in 30 years. The feat has also seen the Nigerian nominated for many awards, including the FIFA Best and Ballon d'Or. Sunday, Akapson, 2003 All-African Games silver medalist and head coach of the Nigeria under-17 girls, says his team is not getting carried away following their win over Cameroon in their second game of the 2023 Girls Under-17 African Nations Volleyball Championship. Nigeria returned to winning ways on Monday, beating Cameroon to 3-1 to record their first win at the ongoing 2023 Girls Under-17 African Nations Volleyball Championship in Abuja. The first set on Saturday, Akapson's girls lost to Egypt 3-0 in the opening match of the championship. They, however, put up a better display on Monday to progress to the semi-finals of the competition, where they'll be facing the same opponents they defeated. And that's it on Global TV News Cycle. Don't forget to be on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.